What financially can go wrong or sabotage my sale once I've already decided I'm all in?
Moving forward with the DekkerTeam. Moving forward together with the DekkerTeam.
We've created for you over 367 episodes of the Inside Track where we can give you, and we do give you, insider tips. We learn about what makes a house a home. We get aware of where we grow wealth, how we can best grow wealth, and how do we protect the asset of our house, whether it's our typical property or investment property. And you can watch those episodes either on the go or from the comfort of your home or your office. They're there for you anytime you're looking for them and ready for them. Now, Leah.
Yetta.
Financially.
Yes.
It's such a big thing because financially there are so many things that can go wrong. This is one of those times where you actually want to look behind you. It's prudent to look behind you as well as ahead of you because your history can come and bite you, or something you didn't know could happen that's down the road could get in your way and sneak up and bite you.
Right. Or something that you don't know is going to be a potential problem that you do yourself. A lot of times you think, okay, I'm going to purchase this new furniture for my new home because there's this special that says I don't have to pay for a year. Well,
Right.
If I don't have any financial obligation to this company for a year, that's not going to affect my financing, right?
Wrong.
Wrong.
Wrong. And so on this episode, we're going to talk about those things that you want to be aware of, you want to be in the know about so that they don't bite you. And one of those things is not spending money. Don't make, ideally, any changes from the time you put the offer in until you move into your home. After you move in and you've received the mortgage funds. I mean, if you're buying a house for cash, and we have clients that buy a house for cash. If you're buying a house for cash, you'll get little insights from this show and yet not so applicable for you. In Canada, in the Ottawa market, it is rare. It's uncommon to buy a home for cash with your own cash and not use any of somebody else's cash. So, Leah, as we're thinking about that and we're saying, don't make any changes, what kinds of things are we saying, please don't make that change?
Well, anything financial, any sort of financial change, changing your job. Yes, the lender will look at your employment history and what you're making. But if suddenly that changes the whole financial situation.
Especially if you're changing into another career.
Right.
I've seen it work okay, but you'll want to be careful, right? Ideally shift the job after you've moved. Except if you're in the same industry and you're employed by somebody, it's probably fine.
Right.
And yet you want to make sure of that before you do it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Borrowing money, even where you don't have an obligation to pay the money for a long period of time, still means it was a credit check pulled and still shows up as a debt.
Right.
Even if you're not paying it now. Even an outstanding balance on a credit card can get in your way.
Right.
So you want to have your credit cards paid off. So we're saying don't change anything, which is so ambiguous, right? Like, what is that really? So the practical things are keep the job you've got. Don't open a new business, not at least where it's your primary source of income. You can open a secondary business before you move. That's totally cool because it doesn't really show up anywhere. You're just getting started and you're getting set up for what you'll do down the road. But I wouldn't leave your place of employment and launch a business or even shift careers. Please don't. The other thing is keep zero balances on your credit cards. If you've got amounts of money that automatically come out, you've got auto withdrawals. I have so many of those. If you have those, what you'll want to do is pay extra money on your credit cards so that when those auto withdrawals come out or auto charges come out of your account, you're still sitting at a better than zero account, zero charge. Really, really important. Don't buy a car. Oh my goodness. Please don't, unless you're paying cash. Again, cash is king, cash is queen, cash is aunt, cash is it. So if you have cash for something, that doesn't affect your credit. So as long as it doesn't affect your down payment. So if it means you now have to borrow more because you took that cash out of your house account, then that could cause you grief. So ideally, just this is that one time in life when you're about to move into a mortgage situation that you didn't previously have, where status quo, where staying consistent is probably the most vital of any other time. I'm not a big one for saying status quo. I think stretching and growing and changing is the way to live life. And when it comes to getting a mortgage, status quo is the way to go. Even if you're remortgaging, like this doesn't just apply if you're going to buy a new home. This is also applicable whenever you're going to get a new mortgage. If you get a new mortgage that you need to pre-qualify for with a new institution, or even with the one you have, unless it's an auto renewal and they're not pulling another credit check, which they can certainly still do even on an auto renewal, you want to make sure that things are squeaky clean and not changing anytime you're shifting into another mortgage.
Right. And it's not only our personal finances that are going to affect our financing either. What happens if the appraisal of your new home comes in far below what you purchased for it? Sometimes the lender will say, well, your house isn't worth what you've paid, so we're not going to finance the amount that you would like.
Right. Or you have to come up with more cash to be able to finance it.
Right.
Right. And so you want to have those in reserve. So having a family member that's got really lots of money sitting in an account somewhere, or
be nice to them.
Be really nice to them, because they may help you out if you get a surprise.
Right.
The other area where that can happen is if there's land with the property. Growing your own food, having a hobby farm, having those extra acres to roam, having the privacy is quite popular. And sometimes and often, depending on the number of acres, the appraiser, the bank, only wants an appraisal for the value of the house plus 2 or 3 or 4 acres and exclude the balance of the acreage. And so now all of a sudden the appraisal doesn't work. Right. So you need to have enough cash really to pay for the land portion up front. And it could also affect things tax-wise. So that's another thing to look at, but that's a different show, different conversation, right? So just being really cautious about what it is you're actually borrowing for and being aware of what those specific pitfalls could be on a particular type of property.
Right.
Right? And so if you're thinking, this is a little more complicated than I thought, the financial picture is a little broader, a general call to us may just help you avoid getting caught in something and not being able to buy the home that you really, really want. So we're so grateful that we get to journey with you, helping you make amazing, wise financial decisions, because that's our passion.
Moving forward with the DekkerTeam. Moving forward together with the DekkerTeam.